Live.
Is that better? Yeah, I'm gonna, just so it's not.
All right, welcome everyone. We are hitting double digits this week, episode 10, if I counted properly, and I don't always do so, of the Loose Lug Nuts podcast. I am joined this week by my co-hosts, as always, Aaron Simmons, aka Simoleons, and Zachary Brandevold from his new home in North Carolina, the center of the NASCAR racing world. Since you are probably still unpacking stuff, we will let Aaron go first. Aaron, how are you this evening?
Doing well. It's been kind of a trying week this week, all with school starting up again and trying to get all the finances and the classes in order and trying to take care of some more personal stuff. You know, I'm ready just to sit down and talk about some racing, and including the performance we had this weekend.
Sounds good. Hey, it is great to be back. I didn't know if I was going to survive those two bye weeks that we had back to back, but we are back. Now, let's go to the man of the hour, Zachary Brandevold. His dedication to this podcast is second to none. He has actually moved to the Charlotte area, relocated his home to the heart of the NASCAR universe just so he could be better informed for this podcast. Thank you for your dedication, Zach. How is North Carolina, and how are you?
Yeah, I'm pretty good. I'm hanging in there. Got pretty much everything settled, so that's good. And I'm excited to be here and continue on. I did this just for you, Tom. Moved to Charlotte just for you.
Hey, I appreciate it. I appreciate it very much. I'm sure the fact that your fiance's family is there had nothing to do with the move. I'm sure that it was done just for me. I got to tell you, I am a little bit with simoleons this evening between getting kids to doctor's appointments and some extracurricular activities they do and school starting tomorrow. I am way behind, but I am so thankful to my co-hosts for putting the agenda together this evening and getting us ready to roll, especially Zach, who apparently is taking advantage of the luxuries of North Carolina. He did most of the work on the agenda. So thank you so much for carrying me through this. Zach will, if he has a pained look on his face, that's because he has been carrying me through this entire broadcast. But we will get it together.
My back hurts just a little bit.
But first up, we've got the Xfinity race review, and that is in my area of assignments this week. So Austin Cendrick really, I thought, had a great performance. Maybe he wasn't the best car at the start of the race, but was certainly a solid car all day long. Felt like he took advantage, or didn't take advantage, but he was able to avoid some trouble that some of the other contenders had. We saw Justin Allgaier get caught by about that much with a pit road violation and pitting when the yellow flag came out. We saw Ty Gibbs have to pit early, which cost him, I think, as he had to run the race with older tires, about 9-lap older tires. We saw AJ Allmendinger, the road course ringer from the Xfinity Series, miss not one corner, but 2 corners in the opening laps, which I think to some degree set the tone for Saturday. He was able to come back with a strong finish, but overall, Austin Cendrick, just a very impressive performance. And it may be me, but I feel like since the announcement has came out that he is driving that 2 car, it's almost like maybe some pressure has been released from him and he's been able to just relax and drive. But since that announcement came out a few weeks ago and he kind of knew what his future was, he has absolutely been on fire. So congratulations to Mr. Cendrick on a big win. And that is my take on the Xfinity race, which was not nearly as action-packed as the Cup race that Aaron is going to tell us about. So, Simoleons, tell us, did anything happen in the Cup race? Because was it just kind of they just ran around the track and that was it? Or was there anything really exciting going on?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, nothing really truly exciting happened. There wasn't any, track falling apart or chaotic finishes and debatable last lap maneuvers. There wasn't really any of that. So let's talk about how the track fell apart. There were some confusing times and some just road confusing finishes. So for the first time ever in the Brickyard 400 history, which is now the Verizon 200, they have gone to the road course at Indy. And for the first time ever in the NASCAR Cup side, the Xfinity has been doing it for a while. But when the race started, to me, it just did not feel like the old traditional Indy that I'm used to. I'm used to, the Brickyard 400 where there are pretty much 4 kind of identical corners, and you gotta maximize speed, air performance, all that. It just didn't really feel like that, and it really didn't feel like that kind of as the race went on. For right now, it's the race went all right, but however, issues started to come up, especially after the Xfinity race with turn 6. Kind of the turns 5 and 6, the sweeping S's, where it's just a very fast section of the track. The curbing around that track, for those of you who did not see it, it had problems already from the get-go. Apparently, there were not 1, but 2 times where there was some debris that got caught underneath the curbing. And it wasn't just like a thin little kind of a narrow piece. No, it was like large sheets of debris. And they tried to kind of repair that curbing.
I think it was multiple times during the race.
I'm sorry?
I was just saying, I think it was multiple times during the race. They had issues with that all day.
Yeah. I've only saw it twice, but there could have been more. But really, that really came to play kind of towards the end when the curbing was just absolutely destroyed by William Byron, who in that curbing basically just took out half the field of contenders. You had Byron out, you had Logano out, Kyle Busch, you had all sorts of like big name contenders that got taken out because of that curbing, and they actually had to remove that curbing because it was just destroyed. And of course we'll talk about that curbing later on. But in the end, it was all about Chase Briscoe of Swords Racing, who has not had any good things happen to him this year, and Denny Hamlin, who was fighting for the lead in the regular season championship. And what happened? Briscoe had a shot, but then took turn one too high, cut that turn, and actually tried to go into turn two. Unfortunately, that was a penalty. But before NASCAR could rule the penalty to him, he took out Denny Hamlin for what he thought was the win. Turns out it was not so. But then here we see AJ Allmendinger in third place get the win at the Indy Roval for his first ever win in Indy, and I was so excited for him. But yeah, that was pretty much the race. So it's just a lot of different factors at work here.
Yeah, we're going to talk all about that race and the track coming up and the Chase Briscoe incident and Allmendinger grabbing a cup win for Colleague Racing. And that is huge because that means he can run in the All-Star race next year. That means he can run in the Clash next year. That is big, not just for him personally, but also big for Colleague Racing as they are trying to kind of make a name for themselves in the Cup Series. So I think that was huge.
It absolutely was. I mean, especially for Allmendinger, who was running a very part-time schedule, was linked to a second position at Colleague Racing for part-time. I mean, he
does that push him into full-time contention? We'll talk about that later.
As an Allmendinger fan, I really hope so because I love to see Allmendinger back in the Cup Series. But we will get to that.
Yeah. Definitely interesting. Definitely interesting.
Yeah. And I didn't look it up, but I would love to know what were the odds on AJ Allmendinger winning that thing. Somebody could have made a bunch of money in Vegas if they could bet on him. And when the track started coming apart, if I am not mistaken, he was something like 24th place. But when 9 cars wreck ahead of you, you can suddenly move up a bunch, and all of a sudden he's restarting third. But yeah, it was just he's a great road course racer, but you talk about it being a day of good fortune for him. Oh my gosh, to avoid the problems with the track, get a good restart position, and then have the Denny Hamlin Chase Briscoe incident just hand it to him. Wow, what a day of good fortune. So but we will hit a lot of that as we go through this. But right now, we did not just have NASCAR going on this weekend. We had IndyCar, and we have our resident IndyCar expert, Zachary Brandevold, going to tell us all about the IndyCar action from the weekend.
Yeah, I'm going to try. It was a very interesting Indy race, racing at the Indianapolis Roval doubleheader, for actually triple header, technically with the Xfinity Series race. So it was really interesting to see that. Obviously, the Indy race was on Saturday. We have a very close battle for the championship with veteran Scott Dixon, actually Marcus Erickson, who's a little bit below him. They're teammates at Chip Ganassi Racing, and he actually put himself in the playoff picture only about 80 points out or something like that with 4 races left now. Last week by winning again at Nashville. So there's really only 4 guys that were before this race that were in the playoff hunt and 85 points out. Dixon was he actually overtook Pato O'Ward, who was in 3rd place around, I want to say 40 points back. And Dixon is now after Nashville, was about 20 points back. And our championship leader, Alex Palou, has a rookie, well, technically a rookie, full-time rookie, is leading the championship. Just a very cool, calm presence in the cockpit and doing a wonderful job this season in that Chip Ganassi racing car that's pretty dominant everywhere. So we came into this race here. There was a very interesting dynamic. Pato O'Ward, who is second in the championship, also a rookie, second year talent, trying to fight for the championship, claw back some points because it's a points race. It's not whoever wins the last final race. It was very interesting to see. He got the pole over Will Power, veteran, who has absolutely dominated at the Indy Road Course before. I believe he has like 7 wins. In the race, it was pretty much a Will Power show. Pato O'Ward couldn't handle the tire degradation. He was using it up too much, and there were lots of different wrecks. Like we saw in the NASCAR race, down into turn 1, there was people sending it in, and people getting either having to take the over the chute, which was kind of into turn 1, but they would turn down and back onto the track. So a lot of people locking up as well. The degradation was terrible. Palou, who's the championship leader, got around both of his championship rivals, and in the last, I believe, 5 laps, 10 laps, something like that, he blew an engine. So his championship lead is now down to like 23 points. And so Pato finished, I believe, in the top 5 after that, and is still squarely in the championship hunt with a couple races left to determine the winner, the championship winner of the season. So definitely with Will Power winning this past race. So Will Power gets a win finally on the season. He's been having a terrible season so far, and he finally gets his first win of the season. Some IndyCar veterans definitely having some issues this season, like Alexander Rossi and some other ones, with some rookies and new stars and F1 stars, and Roman Grosjean really lighting it up this season.
So it sounds like we had an exciting weekend in all three races that were held: the Xfinity, the Cup, and the Indy. And it sounds like that the points battle is heating up everywhere too.
Exactly.
And we have got several news stories to cover here. Once again, Zach did a great job of finding the news stories for us to cover, and there's some really interesting ones here. So let's get to it. Zach, take us through the news stories.
So, some weeks we have lots of news, and some weeks we have very little news to talk about. So I think this past week, they've decided to dump all the news that they possibly could on us. So we have 5 news stories to go through. We kind of want to get a good variation. So let's get into it. Hamlin blast Indy and NASCAR officials for road course quote unquote crash fest. Who do you think's to blame? Will we see changes in how road courses operate, and will NASCAR learn from their mistakes? Do any of you guys have any comments on this?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know who is exactly to blame. Okay, but I know it's not the drivers. I saw so much on social media with people saying that the drivers were quote cheating, and the curbs were there to slow the cars down, and they shouldn't be running over them. And I'm going, who are you people? Have you ever watched racing? Okay, as long as there is not a penalty for it, drivers will take the fastest route through a racetrack. Okay, if you don't want to drive them over the curbs, then you got to make it a penalty. But do not say this is the driver's fault. Okay, and do not say they were cheating by doing it. Okay, to me that is people who must not know very much about racing or watch very much racing. But I saw that so much. One thing that I think is interesting when you try to say who is to blame, and correct me if I'm wrong here, most of the facilities that NASCAR goes to, they own the facility. Okay, but Indy, they don't. Indy, I think, is owned by Roger Penske, is it not?
It is.
I'm not sure whether you say this is NASCAR's fault or this is Roger Penske because he owns. I'm not sure who is actually responsible for the track, but to me, yeah, this was a mess. I had to rewatch that replay because they didn't catch it. It was hard to catch it all from the angles they showed on TV. There were 9 cars when that track came apart. 9 cars that wrecked. I can't even get my fingers here to show 9. But 9 cars out of a 40-car field got taken out. So blame it on NASCAR, blame it on Roger Penske, whoever's responsible for the track. But it was a mess.
Yeah, I will agree, Tom. That I feel like that's more the track's fault than it's the driver's fault. I mean, and to the people that say that drivers are cheating by doing this, you do realize NASCAR was built on cheating, right? You do realize that NASCAR was essentially built on moonshiners on trying to outrun each other. So your thing on don't hang on, drivers are cheating. Well, this one was built on cheating. What are you talking about? So, but no, I mean, whenever there's a track problem, it is the track's. Whenever there's a problem with the track, it is the track's fault. I mean, whether it be just something accidental or whether it be they just chose not to take lessons from it, like they did with the Xfinity a little bit. I mean, it's clear the Xfinity race has some problems with that curb, but yet they did nothing to kind of change it for the Cup. So I would say it's more of the track's fault than the drivers. In fact, I blame no fault on drivers because they're trying to win a race. They're trying to do everything they can to squeeze every ounce of speed and scrub off every tenth of a second on the track. So they have to find a way to go faster. And plus that section track is just so sharp in one lane anyway. Like we saw in the Nashville race. I mean, there were some sections of the track where it was just so thin that drivers were having a problem trying to pass there. And so I feel like that section needs to be reworked in the future if they are going to do this again, which it looks like they will do it again. But they need to find some way to redo that curbing because it was an absolute mess.
Yeah, look, do I think the track had a problem? Yes. Do I think the drivers also had a problem? Yes. I think it was a little bit of both. I definitely think the track, those curbs, had shown some wear and tear and issues in the previous races and even in IndyCar as well. And so that was definitely a problem. When you have drivers sending it into turn one and having to block all the way down to the pit wall, they're obviously not going to make the corner and they're not going to break enough. So they're going to send whoever is on the outside of them. We saw that in the IndyCar race. We saw that in the NASCAR race. So at some point, you got to figure out the best situation for that turn one, especially the turn one incident, which we commonly see every single year, even in the Xfinity Series race last season. It was terrible. So do I blame the track officials and NASCAR? Yes, because we've seen very stupid mistakes from them more recently than most. But do I also put some blame on the drivers? Absolutely. People are making stupid moves and putting themselves in terrible positions that they knew they couldn't get out of. It's up to the drivers to race the track that they're given. And yes, although you're not prepared for it to rip up itself and wreck a bunch of different cars and tear up cars, you can't be sending it, and specifically turn one, you can't not be sending it into turn one and putting yourself in that position where you're going to run another car off the track. That should be a penalty for sure. So yeah, definitely a lot of issues there. Second news story, Josh Berry lands a full-time ride in 2022 for Junior Motorsports running in the number 8. How do you think he will do next season? And who's the odd man out, considering Sam Mayer has already been confirmed for next season as well? Sam Mayer was confirmed earlier this year in a full-time ride in 2022, along with a part-time gig for this current season. Who did I start with before, Aaron? I'm going to go with Tom. Tom,
you started with me. Go with Aaron this time.
Aaron, do you have anything to talk about this one?
Nothing really too in depth as my laptop is messing up. It's trying to catch up here. But anyway, I don't have anything too in depth to say. I mean, other than congrats for Josh Berry for landing that ride. If I remember correctly, he was kind of in a tricky spot with trying to get sponsorship and trying to get some way to kind of run for next season. As I remember, I don't believe he had a full-time ride, or maybe thinking of somebody else.
He didn't have a full-time ride this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, but yeah. Anyway, I'm just happy for Josh Berry for getting that spot. And as for who I think is going to be odd man out, I'm probably going to lean towards Michael Annett. I mean, he's been in the sport for so long, and what does he have to show for it? So I'm going to lean towards Annett for right now, but I could be completely wrong.
Tom, what to say you?
I think Junior really likes Josh Berry. I think he kind of not completely discovered him through iRacing, but kind of, and that's kind of Dale Junior's baby is he loves iRacing. I also think that he felt bad for Josh because it seemed like it struggled for a while to get him into a ride, and Josh has performed. Josh has absolutely performed, even when he has got a chance to drive other people's equipment because he's in a part-time ride. He has performed, so I think he has absolutely deserved it. I think Simoleons is right. I'm going to go with Michael Annett. I can't see Noah Gragson being out. I think Gragson is Earnhardt's boy. I don't think he's going to be the guy who's the odd man out. It could be Michael Annett. It could be a surprise here that maybe he keeps all three of those and he does go cup racing next year with one of them, and there isn't an odd man out. I've been saying he's not cup racing till 23, but maybe by starting to announce and locking down some of these drivers, he's got plans to go next year and just hasn't announced it yet. But I'm going to go with Michael Annett being the odd man out. But what do you think, Zach? You're pretty in tune with who's in, who's out. You've been pretty good at picking these, other than Kurt Busch, of course.
Sorry, I'm just looking at some breaking news that I might have to share a little bit later. But yeah, so obviously Josh Berry, an amazing talent. He showed what he could do, not only in junior motorsports equipment, but also in Jordan Anderson's car as well. I love seeing him have a full-time ride, especially when he performed for Junior Motorsports and got that win in Martinsville. I think that one of two options. Either one of the drivers currently at Junior Motorsports has a cup offer and is not announced it yet, or I have to go with Noah Gragson. He doesn't bring many sponsorships. Yes, he's young, but he wrecks so many race cars. And I think he potentially moves on and goes on to maybe Colleague Racing with that Chevy background, because he's just tearing up way too many cars and doesn't bring any sponsorship of his own. The Brandt car, number 7, Allgaier, pays for itself, and so does Michael Annett with Pilot and the rest of his sponsorship. So I think that Allgaier's the odd man out, and I think they have two young, promising rookies, so to speak, in Josh Berry and Sam Mayer for next season. But who knows? Like I said,
I think you bring up some interesting points there, because Allgaier is kind of the elder statesman of the group, because he is 33, 34.
Mm-hmm.
So, I could see him as being, because he's the elder statesman, he's the guy. I think you bring up some interesting points. And I think Noah Gragson to Colleague Racing is an interesting fit, because as we heard AJ Allmendinger say, Matt Colleague is a trophy hunter. He doesn't care if it comes back on wreckers or you get him a trophy. And that kind of fits Noah Gragson's style. That would be a really interesting set of musical chairs. I think those are interesting points. And Bundy is agreeing with you. Allgaier out.
And so is J-Dub as well.
However, I will throw a wrench in that theory right now. Go back to Nashville and I believe Pocono, where Allgaier, he was on the cusp of winning those races, if not for Kyle Busch being there.
Mm-hmm.
If Kyle Busch was not there, he wins those races. He's been showing he can, even though he's getting up there and is the yellow station of that group, he can still race and he can still win. But
yeah, so and he books his own sponsorship. He pays for his own car. That's the main thing. You got to have sponsorship in order to run. That's what kind of hit. Joe Berry couldn't, or Josh Berry couldn't compete because he didn't bring his own sponsorship. So I think this is definitely kind of a sign. And Noah stays with the Chevy. And as soon as I love your comment, Tom. I said, as soon as I heard him say that, I said, you know what? I think it makes sense. I really think I pieced the things together. But anyway, moving on to the next bit, we got 2311 have yet to secure another charter for the next season, as rumors fly on them buying Front Row Motorsports. Why do you think they have yet to secure another charter, and do you think they will? And do you think that if Front Row Motorsports can compete next season with the rule change, or do you think their performance is pushing them to sell? Let's start with you, Tom. Do you have anything to say?
I'm going to go back to my theme. If you got a charter right now and you're not performing, it's a great time to sell because you got Junior wanting in, you got Colleague coming in, you've got 2311 expanding. I think it's a great time to sell if you have a charter. So I don't know that, we don't know what's going to happen with the car next year. Maybe Front Row will be able to compete, but no matter what rule changes have ever been made in NASCAR, you've always had the teams with the biggest money and the bigger sponsorships dominating the sport. That goes back to the 1970s when Richard Petty was dominating because he had the biggest sponsor in STP. So I don't know that they're going to get a whole lot better without big sponsorship. And like I said, I think it's a good time to sell if you got a charter. So we'll see. I would tend to lean towards a sale, but there's a lot of buyers out there, and there's not that many charters left for sale. So I think it's a good time to sell. I'm if this was a buy sell thing, I'm pressing the sell button.
All right, Aaron.
Yeah, I would absolutely agree. I mean, this is a buyer's market, and so if you have something to sell it now. And of course, we saw that earlier this year with I'm getting a brain fart out the butt right now.
Chip Ganassi.
Thank you. It's been a week. It's been a week. I'm sorry, but okay. So we saw this week with Chip Ganassi, and so I kind of think 2311 is trying to kind of see see who's going to be selling their charter for the least amount of money. But I think right now he's trying to wait until the prices come down and kind of snatch it at the last second. So I think they're trying to do, but I really don't know. I really don't know. I kind of think that's what they're trying to do. But as for Front Row Motorsports, I really don't know what that situation is. Of course, I haven't been keeping up with the news a lot lately, so I'm going to say no comment for that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting for sure. I think Front Row Motorsports is kind of growing up. I always remembered them with David Gilliland and winning the always being in the hunt of the and David Reagan always being in the hunt of the Daytona races and Talladega plate races. So it's kind of sad to see them go, especially considering their performances increase. I believe Michael McDowell has an average finish of like 18th compared to when he first began. He had an average of, I want to say 24th, 25th. So back in like 2017, 2018. So it's definitely going to be a little bit of a sad news if that actually happens. Because I actually like Michael McDowell. I also think highly of Anthony Alfredo. I don't know if they buy both their charters outright and run them. I think that would be cool, and potentially another spot will open up. What I don't want to see is another spot not open up for another driver. So I do want to see more spots open up for sure with those charters. But it's a little bit concerning that 2311 is yet to secure another charter. Denny Hamlin spoke recently and said that there hadn't been any talks here and there. He's taking it week by week, and I think that it's a little bit concerning at this point, considering how unprepared they were for the beginning of this season. And then you take in consideration they have a whole new car and a whole new system that they have to implement if they want to get a second program going for next season, or third. I mean, if they want to buy out Front Row Motorsports, that's 2 other cars that they have to build, crew chiefs and teams and et cetera, that they have to do. And they weren't prepared last season. So what does it make? How does it make sense for that? But they still have a little bit of time. I'm not saying that's not going to happen, but it's definitely a little bit concerning looking back and saying, oh, they don't have anything. Maybe they wait for the 51 charter to go up for auction when they don't make the cut for the 3rd straight year, and try and buy that cheap. But, I think at this point they got to do something quickly to line up sponsorship and other stuff.
Okay, look at the viewers coming in with their big predictions. Kurt is going to 2311. Front Row merges with Hamlin's team.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and say that Kurt is going to 2311. I'm going to go ahead and say my breaking news. During a media event in South Carolina, Kurt Busch announces that he has not one, but 2 different offers for the 2022 Cup season. They've yet to be announced. So probably one of those is 2311. And who is the other one? That's what, maybe a remerge at Stewart-Haas? I don't know. It's pretty crazy.
I don't know. I wouldn't even begin to
We'll
guess.
see. Well, I'm pretty sure like one thing's guaranteed. One of them is 2311. One of them is going to be 2311. It's just kind of a mystery as to who the other one is.
Yeah, I can't imagine what that other one was. What other one is?
Maybe Colin. Who knows?
Who knows?
Who knows how real the second one is? Kurt Busch is savage, okay? And he's a veteran, and he's smart. He may have had casual conversations with somebody, and he's trying to increase that contract price at $23.11 by creating rumors that there are multiple teams interested in him. You don't know. I mean, I would not put it past the Kurt Busch camp to oversell maybe whatever this second offer is to make it seem like it's more substantial than it is.
Who knows? Who knows? All right, let's get back on track. Also, don't forget to save your questions towards the end. We can't pull them up as recently as now, so we have a lot of.
I'm pretty sure I saw one question earlier in the stream, and it was like a fantastic question. But later on, when we get to the fan segments, please resubmit that question. Do not lose
exactly. So Bell is not happy with Larson after Larson sent a short text apologizing for last week's spin at Watkins Glen. And then Larson crying to the media, quote unquote, crying to the media after Bell's non-response. Who do you think is to blame in this fiasco? And will we see this feud boil over into the playoffs? Aaron, let's start with you.
First off, Bell is the one crying in this. It's not Larson. I mean, after Larson's little fiasco, he would not go crying to the media saying, he's a victim here. No, he won't. And plus, I mean, according to him via a SiriusXM interview, he tried to reach out to Bell several times to try and talk to him about it and to try and kind of mend the situation. But Bell, according to Larson's side story, Bell has not answered at all. And so really, if you go back to Watkins Glen and look at that incident, Bell gave Larson absolutely no room. I mean, Larson was on the brakes trying. I mean, you see him like locking up the brakes, and he was already on that curb. He could not go any lower from his side. And so, I mean, Bell tried to defend his spot. He defended it way too late, and he got spun. I mean, that happens. That just happens in racing. And so, really, I think Bell is. I mean, he's mad about it. I mean, who wouldn't? But I don't see this boiling over. I mean, if it does, then that just shows Bell's maturity more than Larson's. And so I don't see it boiling over.
What about you, Tom? Do you have anything to say?
Tom?
Well, okay, two things, okay? One is, this is definitely Larson's fault, okay? Because number one, he did wreck him. He took responsibility for it. He apologized for it. This is definitely Larson's fault. And I'm sorry, you wreck somebody, it's on you, and they don't owe you anything. You can apologize, you can do whatever. They don't owe you a response. They don't owe you anything. You're the one who screwed up. This is on Larson, okay? That's my take. Second, seriously, is this what rivalries have returned to? I text you and you didn't text me back. You sent the text at midnight. Okay. What happened to Cale Yarborough and Donnie Allison trading punches? What happened to Jimmy Spencer and Kurt Busch and Chip Teeth? What happened to Brad Keselowski grabbing the mic and saying, I'm the driver of the number 2, and Kyle Busch is an ass? Those were rivalries.
Tony Stewart throwing a helmet at a windshield.
Yeah. Okay. Now you didn't return my text. Will you send it at midnight? Seriously? We're like 8th grade girls now, okay?
Even Danica had some balls to walk up the track and shake her fist and giving people the middle finger.
Yeah, this is what's a rivalry now? Come on. Sorry. Yeah. I will refuse to call this a rivalry until it is actual or feud, until it is escalated. Right now, it is a spat in the girls' restroom, okay?
Yeah, done. I just sent you the
rant
YouTube.
Over.
I just sent you the YouTube link. I don't know if you could pull it up, but it doesn't matter. I just think of the crowd and Aaron needed a refresher. It was 100% Larson's fault. I believe Bell got to his inside very, very clear, and he was on the rumble strips on the inside, and Larson turned in too soon and wrecked him. Yeah, I really don't think there's any way you can judge that, and I completely agree with Tom. This is something that you are responsible for, and a text simply saying "I'm sorry" or I believe it was like "my bad, I'm sorry" or something like that. I mean, sure, I guess that's okay, but to me, if I was me, I would be going back and talking to the person and be like, "Hey, man, I didn't mean to do that. I put it all on the line, and I don't want to race you like that." And it's completely on the driver at fault, which was Larson, 100%. So, yeah, I don't know, and it seems like Larson doesn't want to take. I mean, I guess he wants to take responsibility, but I don't understand why he came back at him and said that he didn't. I don't know why he said that Bell went crying to the media or anything like that. I think he was just telling him how it is. Yeah, he texted me. That was the only response I got.
Okay, hold on. Let me see if I can screen share this.
Look, I am a fan of Larson. I think he's amazing, and I definitely think he's the one to win the championship. But I'm just calling it as it is. I'm no Bell fan, but I'm just saying I'm calling it how it is.
I am too, and I am calling it a spat in the girls' bathroom. That's what I'm calling it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Larson got onto the inside. I would call it the other way around. He got
definitely
into
on the inside going into the turn.
You could see where he was. You could see where the 5 locked up.
He was locking up from trying to avoid going into Bell, in my opinion.
Anyway.
I mean, the spotter had about all day to tell Bell, "Hey, Larson's coming inside of you. Give him a little bit of room." But
oh shit, what did I do?
Oh
well.
Okay, all right, moving on.
Yeah, moving on. All right, last little news.
Agree, disagree. Let's move on.
Yeah, last little news segment. Another F1 star in Alex Albon, who raced with did 2 or I believe all last season in F1 for Red Bull Racing, said he's considering a switch to IndyCar during his visit to the Indy Grand Prix last weekend. Do you think this will be good for the sport? What team ends up signing him, and will this open up other opportunities from drivers from other series to try their hand in IndyCar? Do any of you guys have any comments on this? I know you guys don't really follow IndyCar or F1 that much.
I'm not an IndyCar guy, but I will say, anytime you can fit F1 is such a huge international sport. Anytime you can grab an F1 guy and bring him into Indy, I think it's got to be good for the sport. I think it's got to grow the sport and increase the popularity and raise the competition level. I don't follow the team stuff. I would not have any guess who's going to sign him from F1, though.
Aaron?
Yeah, I really don't have a comment. I mean, like Tom, I was never really big into F1 or IndyCar. I will certainly try to kind of watch some IndyCar races if I have the time and have the opportunity to watch some. I'll try to kind of get more acclimated into F1 and IndyCar. But as of right now, I have no comment on this.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Bundy. So look at this comment from Bundy. You are my people, Bundy. You are with me. You are my people. I love it.
Yes. That's awesome. Definitely something that's interesting. So Alex Albon, he is a young driver. He's kind of, I don't know if you guys noticed or knew this, but Christian Lundegaard, who races in F2, it's really hard to work up the F1 ladder. Really hard. Alexander Rossi, who's an F1 star, tried to do it. Connor Daly, you need tens of millions of dollars in order to do it, and a lot of talent. So it's really hard, and a lot of people don't make it, and that's why they try other forms of racing after they're done or kind of washed out. I don't want to say the IndyCar field is washed, which they're not. They're very talented. They just don't exactly always have the money in order to compete. Alex Albon, he had 2 podiums and in a second place team car. They finished second in the championship for that season. So no, not great. But he did prove that he could not win, but produce good results where other drivers couldn't. So I think that he is a decent driver, and I think he would be an absolutely amazing driver for IndyCar to get. I mean, you're talking about one of the young stars of F1, not like necessarily Lewis Hamilton, but being able to come over to IndyCar. A lot of people know him because he was on Drive to Survive, a Netflix series that goes over F1. If you guys have time to watch it, I would recommend watching it. Kind of explains a little bit of the details and intricacies of the F1 series. Definitely worth it. And I think that, you see Christian Lundegaard, who races at F2, he raced this past weekend. He qualified, I want to say 5th out of 28 drivers, or 4th out of 28 drivers. Never before racing in IndyCar before, and he qualifies 4th. So you see these guys, they have talent. Roman Grosjean, who's finished 2nd twice and nearly won a race earlier this season, several times this season actually. He's been in the hunt, and he's performing. He retired from, he's like, I don't know, 30 something, 40 something, and he's winning, or he's close to winning IndyCar races in his first season. So I really think that yeah, exactly my point. He was running in the back at a lower back marker team, and now he's able to run up front in IndyCar. You have these amazing talents who are running in these, giving it IndyCar, putting it on the map. I mean, I mentioned last podcast that IndyCar had the highest TV rating since 1996 at Nashville. They had over 2 million people watching, which is amazing. So I think this would be amazing for the sport, and I think it's definitely going to probably lend itself to other drivers, potentially maybe NASCAR drivers, which we're going to talk about a little bit later, to opening up and doing these open wheel racings sports. But anyway, that's all I got for this week.
All right, so I want to take a minute, and we have got a ton of comments here, and I have not had a chance to show all of them, and I don't know if I have given every viewer a chance to get at least one of their comments up there, but want to acknowledge the viewers, want to tell you how much we appreciate the interaction and the insightful comments and the opinions, especially when your opinions happen to coincide with mine. That makes them even more valuable. So if you want your comment on air, agree with me. That's the easiest way to get there. No, I'm kidding. But we do appreciate the comments. Keep them coming, and think about some questions that you want to ask us or topics you want to hear us discuss, because that's going to be coming up in a little bit. But right now, we are up to who's hot and who's not. So right now, I want to start with Aaron. Who you got for who's hot?
Alrighty, for my who's hot this week, it's got to go to Colleague Racing. I mean, came into a very kind of like unknown area for most of the Cup regulars, into the Indy Roval, and absolutely with Edgy Allmendinger running part-time in the series, getting the win. And I may show a little bit of bias here when I say this. I mean, I'm a big fan of Allmendinger. I always have been. He's just kind of one of those guys where he's just not afraid to just say whatever he wants to say on the interview. He's like a little kid every time that he does well, and especially when he wins, especially at Watkins won a few years ago. It's one of my all-time favorite finishes, and especially when he won this week. I mean, I got to call racing, and plus that spark for going into Cup next year, that's got to be a real good feeling coming into the shop Monday morning and saying, wow, we actually got a win at Indianapolis, no place, and of all places. And so they've got to be real excited about that. Speaking of Indianapolis, they are my who's not this week. Of course, with the whole road, the whole Turn 6 fiasco and all that, but Indianapolis in recent years, that has just not done well. I mean, I feel they had to go to the road course just to spice things up for the Brickyard, for NASCAR, because the Oval was getting blamed because no one wanted to go to it, and then now this happens with the whole Turn 6 fiasco, and so really, they've got to figure out some way to kind of build a racetrack so that the racers and the race drivers and the race fans can have an entertaining race weekend and have a fun and safe and fast weekend. And so right now, Indianapolis is going to be my who's not for this weekend, and who's hot it has got to go to Colleague Racing.
Well, I got to say that, everybody's got their favorite driver, but even if Allmendinger is not your favorite driver, you probably like him. He's probably number 2 or number 3 on your list. He is such a likable guy. He's got such passion. He's so grateful for the wins and the opportunities he's got. He is such a likable guy that I think everybody was happy to see him pull off that win. And he kind of he's the underdog, so to speak. This is college racing. They don't race full time. He doesn't really have a full time ride next year, at least at this point in the Cup Series. He's the underdog. He's easy to root for. I think I think that was an extremely popular win. So, and Zach is back just in time for us to hit him on who's hot, who's not.
Yeah, so I'm going a little bit unconventional here, and who's hot. I'm going to say Denny Hamlin. He's a little bit fuming over the incident with Chase Briscoe over this past season or this past race, and as you can tell, he's still not over it. If you pay attention to his social media, he's still calling him out. Apparently, I have yet to confirm whether or not the 14 was told before he wrecked him, whether or not he knew that he had a penalty. But regardless, Denny Hamlin is still very heated about the incident that pretty much, I think, will end his chance at competing for the top spot for playoff time. But and the other note, he is locked into to the playoffs with AJ Allmendinger's amazing win. So definitely something to keep a track of and look at moving forward. I don't think he can pry that back from Larson, but it's definitely gonna be interesting seeing him try. As far as who's not, I'm gonna say new tracks. They are not hot. All the road courses that were added seem to have issues, whether it be the Daytona road course or COTA or the Indy road course this past season or this past race. Definitely not good and not a good look for NASCAR. Bristol Dirt also had issues, so it's kind of one of those things. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. They fixed it and it wasn't broke. So
don't forget the brake failures at Nashville.
Oh yeah, the brake failures at Nashville as well.
Yeah, really.
So
I'm pretty sure really the only new track that hasn't had much debacle going with it was Road America.
Yeah, and that was a track that got Xfinity races and stuff like that. So, yeah, definitely not hot for any new tracks for sure.
Yeah, compared to the track breaking down at the Indy Road course and brake issues in Nashville, I will take Nashville all day.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a very easy fix.
Yeah. So, all right, for my segment of who's hot and who's not, I'm saying who's hot is Austin Cendrick's driving. In the last 3 races, he has got a 4th, a 3rd, and a 1st. You talk about a guy being announced to be a Cup driver, then going out and just absolutely proving he is ready and he deserves it. He has done it with the performances. You got to go all the way back to Atlanta to the last time he was outside the top 5, and even there he was a 10th place guy. So he's done it at road courses. He's done it at New Hampshire. He's really kind of been pretty versatile, and I don't know if he's just that good or maybe the uncertainty of not knowing about next year being removed with the announcement that he's going to the 2 car next year kind of lifted a weight off his shoulders, but he has been on fire with his driving. Now, for who's not, I'm going to say who's not hot is Austin Cendrick singing. I don't know if you saw the cool down lap or listened to his mic after he won the race, but after he wins the race at Indianapolis, he busts out in, I guess we'll call it busting out in song, and started singing Back Home in Indiana, which is a famous song that Jim Nabors always sang to start the Indianapolis 500. I definitely think Jim Nabors may have been turning over in his grave hearing him sing it. I'm really hoping that he makes it as a driver, because I don't think we're going to be seeing him on The Voice or America's Got Talent. I don't think Austin Cendrick can make it as a singer. I'm really hoping this race car driving thing works out for him. But I'm saying who's not. You can't be good at everything, Austin. So you're great at driving, not so much at singing.
100% agree.
Yeah, well, yeah. But hey, you know what? If you know you're going to sing ballet, at least sing it with passion, and that's what he did.
He did.
Yeah.
And that's what he did.
Yeah. New fan Haley from North Carolina saying, This is the new favorite thing to watch on Tuesday nights.
Woo-hoo!
I think it's because she likes you and I, Aaron. I think that's the reason.
I think so. I mean, Tom, who can resist that face of yours? That beautiful like marble sculpted face of yours.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's the reason she's tuning in.
Nope. Yeah, no way.
You know anybody named Haley, Zach?
Not off the top of my head. Actually, no, I cannot say that. I'm going to.
Besides Haley Deegan, I don't know. I don't know.
Oh, there's our confirmation.
People are
For
just
those
agreeing
who
with
do
you
not
tonight.
know that are tuning in, and we're down to one viewer now. It probably is Haley. Haley is Zach's fiance, but we're down to one viewer now, and it's probably Haley. All right, for our one viewer, let's get to the green flag, red flag questions, and that is Aaron's segment. Take it away, Aaron.
Alrighty, gentlemen. Green flag, red flag question number 1. AJ Allmendinger's win for a colleague as a part-time gig primes them for a playoff run next season. Green flag for yes, red flag for no. Zach, we'll go with you first.
You know what? I'm gonna say green flag. I think they have a pretty good alliance with Chevy and ECR. I think all the road courses, 7, if I'm being correct, for next season is a lot, and very likely that Allmendinger gets at least one win on one of those tracks, which pushes them in the playoffs. And I don't know how far they're going to get, but definitely I think this primes them for a playoff run if winning one of those road courses, which I very likely think that he's going to.
All right, Tom, what say you?
I want to say we're just leaving that comment up there the rest of the broadcast. That's there till we go off the air.
Oh man, your ego is so big. It's like making your head small.
How does my head fit on the screen? It's so big.
It's very small.
All right, who gets?
Okay. I'm going to say green
all these
flag.
powers?
All right, I'm going to say green flag. I think with all the road courses, even if he doesn't grab a win, he probably grabs several good finishes there. I think that you got a chance to maybe. I think he's got a full-time Xfinity ride, but I think that you can only run for points in one series, but he's still got time to switch that over and be a full-time Cup driver. And I think the fact that he can compete in the Clash now, and that Allmendinger can also gets into the All-Star race by virtue of this win, that might attract enough additional sponsorship for them to go full time. So I definitely think this puts them in a great position to make a run and get into the playoffs as a rookie team next year. I'm green flag. I agree.
As much as I hate to say this, and as much as I'm going to go red flag. I mean, I don't think it's Colleague's time next year, especially with the new card coming out, and especially with. I mean, Larson will. I mean, not Larson. Allmendinger certainly is a road course ringer. He certainly knows how to go around these tracks. He certainly is a veteran. But I really think this new car, they're trying to kind of get under themselves. I think it's going to be a little bit too early for Colleague to get into the playoffs. It would be great if they did, but right now I'm not seeing it. So I'll go.
I think Matt Colleague is a very smart man. I think he's very calculating. I don't think he rushes things. I think he could have gone Cup racing a season ago, maybe before that. And I think he has kind of said, we're not going to do it till we're ready, but I think they're ready. I think they're going to do well. As much as I'm a believer in Allmendinger, I'm just as much of a believer in Matt Colleague and how he knows how to put together a winning organization.
Well, you got to take in consideration that they're moving Justin Haley. Justin Haley has a full-time ride with Colleague Cup car next season. So AJ is only confirmed for a part-time schedule, but they have 2 charters. If they find this funding, they can very easily make it a full-time schedule.
Right, right. I'm not saying Colleague will do bad next season. I hope they do well next season. I'm just not seeing them going to make a big playoff push next season.
Something
for right now in 2023, I expect them to go. Expect it to be in the playoffs for 2023. 2022, I really don't know.
That's fair. I do think that I believe they said that I completely blanked. Go ahead. Sorry.
How did
completely
we not
blanked.
hit this? Look at J-Dub's comment. How did we not hit this on who's not? Right,
I mean, I
right,
kinda
not
said
hot,
it.
right turns.
I kind of said it, new tracks, but yeah,
Okay.
I get it.
Yeah, I got a point there.
Okay.
Yeah, I got a point. Alrighty, green flag, red flag number 2 for the night. Kyle Larson will be regarded as the best driver of this era because of his ability to win on anything. Green flag or red flag, and we'll go with Tom first.
I think it's too early to say that yet, but I guess if we're trying to look into the future, there's a good chance because I think we're nearing the end of the Kyle Busch era where he was regarded as the most talented driver. I think we're nearing the end of that era. I think Denny Hamlin gets a championship before he's done, but I don't think he has enough. Denny Hamlin's going to be a guy who's good over a very long period of time, but he wasn't dominant for very much of that time. And so I don't think he's going to be regarded as the greatest driver of his era. I think that Kyle Larson's got a chance at it. I think it's Kyle Larson and Chase Elliott are probably going to be the two. We don't know how soon Ty Gibbs is going to move up, but Ty Gibbs is probably 8 or 9 years younger, so I don't know that he's necessarily going to always fit in the same era as Kyle Larson. I'm going to kind of go, if I got to make a pick here, I'm going to go green flag. Even though he's really only had one fantastic season, I think we can see the writing on the wall here. I'm going to go green flag.
Okay. Zach, what say you?
Yeah, I'm going to say green flag just based off of how dominant they've been in only one season, beginning season with Cendrick. It's very likely that he is going to become one of the best, at least in this era, if not, potentially. And I'm not trying to state anything, but potentially up there with the greats as well. Kyle Busch is, like you said, Tom, his reign is ending, so it's very likely that Kyle Larson is able to take the reins.
Yeah, and I'll also go green flag. I mean, of course, he'll be regarded as probably one of the best dirt racers of all time. I mean, I'm convinced that guy can win on just about damn near anything.
I forgot to even mention that. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, on dirt, on open wheel. I mean, I'm certain if you put him in an F1 or any car, he will find a way to win that thing. It doesn't matter it doesn't matter like what team he's in. It can be one of the worst teams out there. He will find a way to win. So, I mean, especially of course this season NASCAR where he's just had a boom resurgence from his time in Chip Ganassi, and so I'll go green flag. He certainly is building his case to be one of the best drivers of all time. It doesn't matter what. It doesn't matter what right now. All right,
yeah,
and we'll move
100%.
Absolutely.
Wow, we all agreed on that one.
I mean, anything Carl Larson base is going to be green flag something. So I mean, let's be real here. All right, so green flag, red flag number 3 of the night. Junior Motorsports goes full-time NASCAR Cup racing next season in some fashion. Green flag or red flag, Zach?
Man, it's hard to say either way, and because there's just not a lot of information. But I'm gonna say it all depends on whether or not Junior ends up running an extra car for Xfinity next season, or if he sticks with 4. I think if he sticks with 4 Xfinity cars, then I definitely think he has a chance at partnering with one of the existing teams right now in Cup, and maybe pushing somebody up like a Michael Annett or a Justin Allgaier, who I've been saying all the time that has his own funding. So I'm going to say green flag. I think he's going to work something out because, like he said, this is a now or never for him. This is the rule change that he was looking for. This is, people are looking to sell, and I would not look any further than potentially Richard Petty Motorsports, because not only do they have one charter with Eric Jones, but they also have a second charter that they lease in partnership with Rick Ware Racing. And if we look back and we see what Rick Ware said, he said he's going to have 2 strong cars for next season, confirmed. So I think it's a very, very good possibility, but who knows? Like I said, it all depends on whether or not he runs an extra car in Xfinity next season, because that takes a lot of funds away from the potential NASCAR Cup Series bid.
Okay. All right, Tom, we'll go to you.
You like how he didn't answer the question? We never got a green flag, red flag.
I know.
We
I said
got it.
green
It
flag.
all depends.
No,
We
Tom,
got it all
I will say
depends.
he did say green flag, but it's kind of more like a green flag, kind of.
Yeah. You guys do that all the time.
I'm
Fair.
saying red flag. I'm saying no. I think Junior has kind of, much the way Matt Collick does, when it's time to go cup racing, he'll go cup racing. He's kind of basically, it seems to me, set himself up to do Xfinity for another year. I don't know the inner workings of the organization, but look, you had an extremely talented driver in Josh Berry, and they have, to some degree, struggled to find funding for him to get him to go Xfinity racing. That tells me that they don't have sponsors knocking down the door, and they don't have sponsors that necessarily have the deep pockets that you need to run Cup. I just think he is a year away, maybe 2 years away, and I think he's going to go when it's time to go, but I don't think 2022 is the time for that organization yet, so I'm going to say red flag.
And I'll agree with Tom. I'll go red flag. I mean, Junior has stated that right now charters prices are through the roof right now. And right now, I don't think he really has the funds to go cup racing at this point. I mean, certainly, I think he's more or less focused on the Xfinity side and seeing which driver that he thinks is best suited for a cup ride when that day comes. In my opinion, but right now it's not looking like he's going to make any pushes for the Cup Series at this time. So I'm going to go red flag.
And we've got divided opinions from our viewers on this. We've got some red flags. We've got some green. So it's interesting. None of us agree on this one.
I do like J-Dub's comment here. Red flag, but he could surprise us all. I feel like that is the quote for this season so far. Red flag, but hey, who knows? Who knows? I mean, bombshells have been dropping so far this season, and why not one more?
You're right there.
Oh, but alrighty. Moving on to number 4 for the night, and we've only got this one and one more question until we get to the fan interaction. So fans, be thinking of your questions. Do not type them in now, but you got 2 more questions to think of a good comment or a good question to ask us. And so please be thinking about that, and please be getting your fingers ready to type. But all right, question number 4 for the night. IndyCar must do whatever it takes to get Kyle Larson in the Indy 500 for 2022. Green flag or red flag?
I'm jumping on this one. I'm saying red flag. Okay. And I am saying red flag based on me reading the question very carefully, which specifically says 2022. Kyle Larson is 27, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. He's got a minimum of 5 more years of being in his prime to me, maybe 10 or 15. Okay. I think it would be great the way he can drive anything with 4 wheels and a steering wheel and win in it. I think it'd be great to see him in Indy, but I think you still got a minimum of 5 years to get him to take a shot at the Indy 500 while he's still in his prime. So I don't think it has to be next year. I don't know what's going to be going on at Indy. Maybe when there's a year when there's not a lot of hype around the race or something, it would be a good year to get him in. I don't know what next year's going to be like. I think it would be great. I think it's something we would all love to see at some point when he's in his prime. But I think he's got a minimum of 5 years of being at his peak driving level to go try and do it. So I don't think it has to be a 2022. So I'm going red flag.
I think it's going to be hard. I think, you got to partner with the right people. I believe if he does do it, he has to partner with Chevy for sure. I think it'd be stupid. I mean, we have seen where Kurt Busch, who did the Indianapolis 500, went with a Honda manufacturer. I think it's stupid of Chevy if they do get him to be able to do it. I don't know. My thing is Penske and Roger Penske and Hendrick both have really good relationships. I think it would be something that if I'm IndyCar, I want 100% want Larson to try Indy 500 next season, just because of his prowess that he's shown on all different kinds of tracks. So I don't know. We'll see. I'm gonna say green flag. I'm gonna say it happens. I think they find a way, and I think that Hendrick. I think Hendrick would be okay with it.
Yeah, and I'm absolutely going green flag.
And clarification, Larson did say he wanted to do it. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, and Zach, to clarify, Rick Hendrick has come out and stated toward drivers, if they want to race anything they want to, then you have free reign. Go for it. He has not backed down from drivers from racing other series and potentially getting hurt. He has absolutely no problem with that. So he has clearance from Hendrick right there, and plus, it's Larson. He's gonna race. He's gonna race it. It all takes just the right people and the right partnerships to do it. And plus, I really am wanting to see Larson in an open-wheeled car, just see what he can do in that regard. Of course, we've all seen him in dirt cars. We've all seen him in NASCAR. He can go out and whip people if he wants to. Mm-hmm. And so I'm really kind of wanting to see him in that IndyCar setting to see if he has the same success or if he needs to kind of back up and learn it if he wants to. And so I will absolutely say green flag. I think he wants. I guess he wants to do the Indy 500. So I say it will be within the next 5 years. He will do it.
There you go.
All right, our last one before we get to the fan interaction.
Absolutely, guys. So get your questions in. All right, green flag, red flag of final one for the night. Chase Briscoe intentionally wrecked Denny Hamlin as payback for the Turn 1 incident, and it wasn't over, and it is not over between the two. Green flag for it is not over. Red flag for it's done.
Is it my turn?
Yeah, it's your turn, Zach. Go for it.
Do I think it was payback? Look, I haven't heard of the radio yet, and I think that's going to be a big indicator as to whether or not it was on purpose or not. But I think it potentially was. I'm gonna say green flag. I don't think it's over between them, especially even if it was intentional or not. I think they still have bad blood. But if you look at it, Chase Briscoe pretty much picked up his left front or right. I think it was left front tire completely off the ground, sending him left. So. I really think that it was a weird situation where you were supposed to be off throttle to make the right-hand turn, and he kind of stepped on the gas there to bump him out of the way. And it was just an awkward place to do that because it wasn't the final corner or near the final corner, and he definitely seemed to have more speed than him. So I'm going to say green flag for sure.
Yeah, no, I can't believe Zach had to pause and think about this. We're ending this thing with somebody just lobbing a pitch down the middle. Oh, this was intentional. Come on. If you look at this, the first rule is wreck somebody without wrecking yourself. Okay. The second rule is make it look like an accident. This in no way looked like an accident. It wasn't I'm going to move you. This wasn't a bump and run. He absolutely dumped him. And I think he made up his mind to do it while he was going through the grass because I think he feels like Hamlin shoved him out of there, cost him his chance at a win or potentially a win. And I think he decided if he got to him, he was going to dump him. I just look at it and think, man, this is an absolute I don't care what he says. Yeah. The rule number 3 is don't say anything that's going to get you penalized or fined. Okay.
Which he didn't. But did you hear what Tony Stewart said afterwards?
I did not, but I know what I saw.
I'm proud of you for sticking up for yourself or something to that effect.
Yeah.
Something like that.
So, I just think it wasn't a little tap. It wasn't like he got to the quarter panel. He I think
he lifted the tire off the ground. He lifted the
I
tire
mean,
off the
he
ground.
hit him hard. So
Yeah.
I'm like, Chase Briscoe is good at a lot of things. He's not a very convincing liar to me, though.
No.
Well, he's still young. He's still he's still a little bit green in the Cup Series. So give him some time. He'll work it out.
So
the
what do you
question-
say,
Yeah,
Simoleons?
Simoleons, go ahead.
I mean, obvious green flag for me. I mean, coming down to the last lap. I mean, he's trying to do everything he can to win the damn race. So obviously, it's a green flag because there's no way he would have caught him. I don't think. But excuse me. But it wasn't personal. But he really did intend to wreck him. But I mean, Denny. If you go back a few years ago, Denny punted Chase Elliott out of the way at Martinsville for a win. So it's only fair something happens. Something happens to him too. And plus, we've heard drivers. Hell, Tony Stewart said he would wreck his own mother to win a race. So it is in drivers' blood that they will and can and will do anything they can to win a race.
Now, do you think NASCAR penalizes Chase Briscoe if this team said that he had a penalty and still wrecked Denny Hamlin?
Now, if the team went over the radio and said, "Hey, Chase, you're penalized," before that incident, then absolutely they should. But if they didn't, then it's fair game because Briscoe didn't know. I mean, in his mind, he was forced off the track, and in his mind, I think it was the classic WO line rule. He was forced down there. He can do whatever he wants.
Tom has some pretty strong opinions.
I don't think they're going to penalize him. I don't think they're going to. I think
either way.
Either way.
I think you got to set a precedent if that stuff can't fly. But maybe they let them settle it on the track, and that's why I say it's not going to be over.
And plus, NASCAR, and of course, this season has shown NASCAR is prone to do some very stupid things. And so I think that they will really look at this and kind of go back on the audio footage and say, okay, where did he learn that he was penalized before they do anything to at least try to make themselves look, say, hey, we look through it. We'll give him the benefit of the doubt here. We'll say that he probably didn't know beforehand.
What? What'd you say? I couldn't hear you. What? You say it was penalty? What? I didn't hear that. Did you say penalty or no penalty?
Say that again.
Yeah, that's what Chase Briscoe is going to say if it comes out.
No, did you hear it on Radioactive? They actually took it down. NBC did. They said that, or they showed where earlier before Denny Hamlin turned him, they were talking on the radio about penalty, and apparently the caption said Chase said copy something about that copy, and asking about where's turn 10 or something like that, and Denny Hamlin said, so you did know before you wrecked me, and apparently Chase's defense to that was I don't say copy. If anybody knows how I say things on the radio, it's not what I say. And apparently he was saying that it was his spotter or something like that. So he's trying to deflect it as much as possible for sure.
Trying to not get fined. Okay. All right. It is time for the fan interaction. So any questions, any topics you want to hear us discuss, anything that's on your mind, let's hear what the fans have to say here. So I know you've been holding those comments, so fire away. Let's see what everybody's got here.
All right. I saw one question earlier this podcast, and I would love to see it again. Because from what I saw, it was a pretty good question.
Yeah, and the unfortunate thing is we can only scroll back through so many comments, and I'm not sure if I can get back there and see. Let me see if I can get back here because I'm going back pretty far.
Actually, we can. I think Bundy 0006 asked, "Is Mr. Silbo going to party and join us tonight?"
One syllable.
Tom Freeman
is not with us tonight.
Unfortunately, no.
No.
Tom Freeman said, your thoughts on the possibility of a new manufacturer coming to NASCAR due to the next-gen car after 2022, of course.
I mean, Honda was rumored to come to NASCAR, but no, I don't know. I haven't really heard anything more about that ever since that rumor came about. I mean, I would love it if a new manufacturer came in, but I haven't heard anything about that, so I'm gonna probably say no.
Well, I think at this point, you're not talking about after 2000 or 2022 because I think it's too short of a runway. But beyond that, what series did Honda drop out of? Did they drop out of F1?
They're dropping off out of F1, but that is I will note that is a completely different manufacturer than Honda HDP or a Honda Performance Department of America is completely different, separated from F1. Yeah. And Honda IndyCar manufacturer, Honda Performance Department of America, is renewed their lease for IndyCar. So just so we're on the same.
I think if it's anybody, it's Honda. I think the fact they've dropped out of F1 frees up some money in their budget, even if it's a different company, so to speak. It's still under the Honda umbrella. Haven't we heard rumors about Honda before, but they kind of didn't pan out? And maybe the only reason we're hearing them now is because they're dropping out of F1. I don't know. I don't know. I kind of lean towards probably not, but I think it would be great if we had 4 manufacturers in it again.
Absolutely.
So I think it's very likely. I think that but I definitely don't think it's after 2022. It's too late in the game at this point, unless they were secretly manufacturing an engine and body that we don't know. It's way too late at this point. I think 2023, definitely. I think they can work on it all this season and a little bit into next season and get it ready for 2023 for sure.
Yeah. Here is this is an interesting question from Bundy. Should they take the splitter off and put a valance back on?
Maybe. I don't know. All I do know is next season we won't have this problem because apparently Kyle Larson and AJ Allmendinger and other people said that the next gen car is going to be so much easier to drive on road courses. You're going to see more driver parity. I believe William Byron also said that as well. So I don't know. At this point, probably not, but maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I would love it if the splitter was gone. It would make driving through the grass, a lot less damaging to the car.
No, I want taller grass and more of it.
If there are any NASCAR engineers watching this right now, they are losing their mind just at the thought of having to deal with a valance versus a splitter.
Exactly.
Since they have had to deal with a splitter for the last however many years. There are NASCAR engineers losing their mind right now.
Yep.
100%.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Another question here. Should we go back to more Midwest ovals?
Please.
So if we did do that, what Midwest oval do you go back to?
I would want to see Cup at Iowa. I would also want them to go back to the Milwaukee Mile. God, where else?
Was it IRP or the Indianapolis Raceway Park, something like that? The O'Reilly
they used
Raceway.
to run the trucks there.
Yeah, I would love to see that racetrack again because that track was fun.
Yeah, with the progressive banking and running up near the wall.
Yeah,
the SRX series ran there.
Yes, they did. Yes, they did. And
Gateway. I always loved Gateway as well.
Well, we got a couple of votes here for Gateway.
Yeah.
Yep.
God. Where else? I want to see it.
Let's see.
I want to see it. I want to see a race in Missouri.
So wasn't there a race in Missouri?
It's the Kansas race is in Kansas. It's not Kansas City, Missouri.
Yeah. Missouri. Carl Edwards' home city.
Yep.
But
you guys bring up some interesting things. The Milwaukee Mile.
Yes.
Gateway, Iowa. Those are some interesting choices. If you do that, what are you going to drop? I assume you're going to drop a road course.
No, I would leave the road. I want short tracks, super speedways, and road courses only. I hate Michigan. No, I'm done. I'm done with some of these, especially with the new package. I hate it. They're just running roadblocks. I'm sorry. St. Louis
taking a day away from Michigan to get it down to one race wouldn't be a bad thing. They still do 2 at Michigan, right?
Just one, I think.
Just one.
Yeah, just one. Oh, see, I actually would love to see a street race, but right now I don't. Brendan, those cars need at least a semi-smooth surface.
DFS, have you lost your mind? They can't even put on a road course race at a road course. You think they can pull it off on a street? They can't even pull off a road course at a road course like Indy. I don't think they can pull off a street race.
NASCAR and Nashville road course. Let's get the street course. Let's go.
Hey, I completely agree. I think they should definitely do that. I'm sorry.
With their track record of not getting things right at new places and going to a street race, I would actually like to see it just to see, just to see what a cluster it would be.
What about what about Memphis International Raceway?
Ooh,
that's not Midwest, but I like it.
Yeah, it's not Midwest, but it's close
enough. Close enough.
The DFS says he's got to go. He's from the Midwest. I like the Milwaukee Mile, and I like Iowa.
Hey, does this answer your question?
Brewers, the Brew Crew.
Yep.
So, okay.
Love me some Wisconsin. I was so happy they went to Road America, my favorite road course. Anyway. Let's get on with it.
Are we ready to go to our white flag questions?
I think so.
Oh, wait. I want to hit one more question because I know that we got a comment about how many of us have pre-ordered the new NASCAR game.
Oh, yeah.
Have you guys pre-ordered the new NASCAR game yet?
I have not.
I have not.
I want to.
Of course, they put out the actual trailer right as we were done talking about how they haven't put out the new trailer yet. Of course they would. And so, well, I've seen that trailer a few times. I still want to see more before I drop that kind of dime on it. I mean, we've seen like little, maybe 2 or 3 second clips, so drivers kind of going around the turns and the new graphics, but I haven't really seen too much for me to say, yeah, I'm going to drop it on it.
The theme seems to be, or at least what we are hoping, there's things we're hoping and there are things we know. We are hoping that the game quality is better, that we have better physics, that we have better graphics. We know we're going to have, I think, a better paint booth, but a lot of the other things we're hoping for. We know that there's been a step back in a lot of areas, okay? We know that you can't drive Cup. We know that you can't drive, or you can drive Cup only. You can't drive Xfinity and you can't drive Truck. You can't drive for your own team. There's been, I guess, the public lobbies or private lobbies are going to be a little more difficult to maneuver around because when you go into a set of lobbies, you can only run a certain set of tracks. We know there's been a step back in the tracks you can race because it is only tracks on the Cup schedule. So, for instance, you can't go to the Indy Oval in the new game because it's not on the Cup schedule this year. So right now, you have the whole spectrum of tracks because you got all 3 series. So, you know, in a lot of those regards, it is a step back. But we are hoping that the actual gameplay is better. But I haven't ordered it yet. I'm probably going to. And I like to play around in career mode a lot, and I hate starting with a crappy team. So I'll probably drop the extra money to get the bigger edition so I can start with a good team. We know there's not going to be a test session anymore. So if you want to practice, you got to practice at a quick race where there's other cars around. So I haven't ordered it yet, but I will. Zach, what are your plans? Are you still making up your mind too?
I don't know. I'm probably not going to pre-order it, to be honest with you. I think that I'm a little bit disappointed. I hope that the graphics are going to be just as fun, but I'm not going to be a guinea pig, to be honest with you. I want to see the actual product before I buy it and spend money on it. So hopefully you guys will be able to tell me, or maybe you, Tom, if you pre-ordered it, or one of my friends, how good it is. I think there's a lot of things that I'm a little bit disappointed that they are not adding for next season. So Yeah, it's a little bit disappointing, but what can we do?
Yeah, J-Dub brings up a good point, and the people that are the serious gamers that know this stuff that kind of all said this is what they expected, that when you completely redo a game, which is what they did, and I got to give them credit because everybody criticized NASCAR Heat 5 for basically being Heat
Copy and
4
paste,
with just a few updates.
Yeah, Heat 4.5 as the
but that
joke
was
is.
after Heat 2 and Heat 3 and Heat 4, you would think.
But everybody, or I shouldn't say everybody, but the people who really know the gaming and know the evolution of games, this is what they said they expected. They expected it to kind of be what it is, a much better game as far as gameplay, but a step back in features. And then over the next generations of it, they will start adding back in these things. So I think, J-Dub, I think you're absolutely right. That doesn't mean I have to like it until they get added back, but yeah, I think that's what the people who are more expert in this than I've got. And he said no test. Yeah, that's what we were when you went through a no test session. So you can still do a quick race. So if you want to work on your setup, you can go out there and go to a quick race and do practice and make all your adjustments and everything. But you're going to be fighting around other cars as you're doing it. You can't go out to a test session by yourself. But I got to say, I was not real impressed with test session anyway, because it seems like going from test session to online lobbies at some of the tracks the cars handled drastically different. So I was not real impressed with test session anyway. So, all right, we got to wrap this up. We are almost an hour and a half into this. Let's get to our white flag questions. Aaron, you want to go first?
I will go first. Right now, my white flag is that dadgum, why does school have to start so damn soon? I feel like I just ended my master's semester just like a week ago, but now I'm back, and I'm just really looking forward to getting this over with and just moving on into actually pursuing my career. But yeah, I mean, right now, why does school have to start so damn soon? Why?
I completely agree.
Dadgummit. I feel like I got no time to just relax.
Yeah.
Zach, what say you for your white flag?
I'm gonna say, in case you guys didn't know, on this day in 2013, Speed Channel was shut down in favor of Fox Sports 1. And all I remember growing up is that iconic Speed logo and turning on the F1 race or turning on NASCAR and having all of the Mike Joy and all the amazing commentators. That would be my Sunday ritual. And I just want to take a moment and remember Speed in all of its glory and compare it to what we have now with these people and commentators who are pretty not great. Speed has had its moments, but its heart was in the right place. That's my white flag.
Yeah.
So we have a question from a viewer. What does Aaron have a master's in?
Right now I have a bachelor's in education. I'm going to try my damnedest to be a high school history teacher. So
you're going to have a master's in high school education?
Right now, I'm going for a master's in education. That's what I'm. So that's what I'm trying to pursue, and hopefully make an impact on the future generation as some of my teachers have done with me. I was just a kid that just went to school, did my work, went home, and didn't really think about it much. But as years have gone on, I kind of realized what those teachers have meant to me in my life, and made me kind of open my eyes to different things and to experience different things in this world. And so I hopefully want to give that spark onto the future generation.
All right. DFS says the only class he likes are history and the auto classes. So cool. Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. Zach, what are you saying for your white flag comments?
Did. Speed.
I'm sorry. Speed. Sorry. Got sidetracked when we went back there. Okay.
May Speed Channel rest in peace. We miss you. We miss you every day.
Okay. Okay. All right. So it is time for me and my white flag question. And in my white flag question, I did a rant last week. I'm not doing a rant this week. I am, though, talking to any of the NASCAR teams that are out there, anybody who is listening or may see this on playback. The guy down here, Zach, he is in the heart of NASCAR country. He is young. He is hardworking. He is intelligent. He is ambitious. He is organized. He is driven. He is smart. Find a place for him in your organization. You will not regret it. He will be a huge addition. So if you're out there, if you're listening, if you see this, find a spot for this guy right here in your organization. You will be glad you did.
Thank you.
Not anything you could ask of anybody more than what you will get out of Zach. So with that being said, don't be a fool. Hire him. Put him to work for you.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Aaron. I have the best co-hosts and friends that I could ask for.
So, all right. With that, Tom Freeman says, I'd say, Tom, you're going to have to go back and rewatch it. Yeah, we talked about different manufacturers coming in. He had to step away. Sorry, we're an hour and a half in. We can't go back. You can watch it on playback.
Yeah, it's on playback.
We did have a good discussion on that one. So, but with that, I think we are wrapped up for this evening. This is episode 10. We're in double digits. Thank you guys for tuning in. We will catch you guys next week, and we will be talking about only it's going backwards here. Left-hand turns, only left-hand turns, as they're going to be in Michigan. See you guys. Thank you for tuning in.
Thank you, guys.
See you guys.